Welcome, everybody. This is Full Spectrum Survival. It is February 21st. We are covering headlines from America and from around the world, the things that you need to know to keep your family safe. There's a lot going on here in the news cycle tonight. We have Donald Trump. They say that he is a spy. This is an ex-Soviet saying that Trump is a spy. He goes under a certain code name talking about Trump. We have a new coronavirus that has just been found in China by the Wuhan Institute. This coronavirus, they say, will adapt to humans. It already attaches to the ACE2 inhibitor, and it is easily spread among humans. Now, there's no outbreak right now. They're just out here telling us that it's here and it exists. So we have to really be careful about this because they might try to blow this up into something big. We also have Kash Patel out here saying some really, he's really giving it to the established FBI, the established authority, letting them know that the entire world has changed. So guys, thank you so much for being here with us and joining us as we watch the events of our world unfold. Please make sure that you let us know where you are coming in from. Whether it's in the USA, maybe in a certain grow zone, a USDA grow zone, depending on what country you're in, just let us know. It's great that we have people that join us in the chat here, literally from all over the world. So what are we watching tonight? Let's first see what they're saying about Trump. Donald Trump, according to an ex-Soviet spy, recruited by the KGB. Codenamed Krasnov, the former chairman of Kazakhstan's national security. Now, he's out here saying that the Soviet KGB at that time recruited Donald Trump, and they're saying that in this recruitment, this was before the collapse of the USSR, they assigned him an alias. The allegation has been made by Alner. He's a former Kazakh intelligence chief. Now, right now, he's 71 years old, but in his prime, he did head up the National Security Committee. He served in the 6th Dictatorate of the KGB in Moscow. This was responsible for counterintelligence and doing different things in the economy, the global economy. The objectives, he claims, was to recruit business people from capitalist countries. This includes U.S. President of the time right now, Donald Trump. At that time, he was just a 40-year-old New York real estate developer. Guys, again, we're just bringing you this information. I'm not giving you my facts saying that it's valid. This is just what's going through the news cycle. That's what we do on this channel. We don't really have our own push left or right. We just see what's happening and we can make our own decisions. In 1987, he says our directorate recruited Donald Trump. Now, in this writing, he did not include evidence supporting the claim, but he did make further comments in another shocking allegation. He said, today, the personal file of resident Krasnov, which is Trump, according to him, has been removed from the FSB. It is being privately managed by one of Putin's close associates in his biggest allegement. His allegations come amid years of speculation, of course, that Donald Trump had something to do with Russia, even at the time. Trump then was a property market star. You know, he was out there actually making massive amounts of money. So I don't know about this. You guys let me know what you think. Let's go ahead and hit to the Kash Patel
First
remarks.
and foremost, we were just with President Trump, and I just want to thank him. I know he's not here in the room right now, but what a ride we have been on. What a courageous warrior and leader he has been, and the faith and trust he has put in me to lead the FBI is the greatest honor that I'll ever have in my life. And to General Bondi, that sounds pretty freaking cool. Pam, you're my sister, you're my mentor, you're my friend, you're my boss, and the confidence you have placed in me, I will never violate that trust. The men and women of the FBI will be led under your leadership through one standard, the Constitution.
Hey, Donna.
So thank you for entrusting me, Pam. Oh man, this is effing crazy. So obviously you don't get here alone. You know, I'm here because of God. I'm here because of my family, and I'm here because of my friends. And you're literally in this room because you made it happen. My sister, Nisha, and my nephew, Aryan, flew in from London just to be
Hey
here.
guys,
My beautiful
appreciate you
girlfriend,
coming in from
Alexis, is
Ocala
here.
and Miramar.
Yes, I agree. My aunts and uncles are here. They've come from all over the country. I am living the American dream. And anyone that thinks the American dream is dead, just look right here. You're talking to a first-generation Indian kid who's about to lead the law enforcement community, the greatest nation on God's green earth. That can't happen anywhere else.
Now, I told you that we were going to start seeing them really reap a new push of the American dream. And this was going to come along with the DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency, the rooting out of corruption and fraud. Hopefully we see some actual justice take place there. Now, we do have a video coming out tomorrow talking about these stimulus checks that they're going to try and push through. The difference, of course, in these stimulus checks is they're not going to cause a direct amount of inflation. They might cause a proxy inflation just because more money will be going into the economy. And as more money goes into the economy, you see an increase in demand. And what comes with that? Well, you have corruption in capitalism, and that corruption has them jack the prices up. So it's more of an artificial inflation. And we might see that happen with these DOGE stimulus checks.
To the senators and the men and women of the United States House of Representatives, you placed an enormous trust in me, an enormous leap of faith, one that I didn't know that I could possibly earn back, but I'm going to spend every single day on this job doing so. The fact that you placed the confidence you did in me has inspired
Thanks, Roger.
me to
Appreciate
reach
it.
new
Blessings
heights
in
at this
return.
job. I promise you the following. There will be accountability within the FBI and outside of the FBI. And we will do it through rigorous constitutional oversight starting this weekend. Yeah.
So those checks are expected to come sometime between end of 2025 and maybe recurring. So check every year through the year 2028. We're just kind of waiting to see what the likelihood of that is.
This is great. We all used to live in the same freaking house. Yeah, I don't have any prepared remarks. I wish I could go around the room and, tell a story about how each and every one of you have magically touched my life to put me in this position.
Thanks, Angie. Yeah, who knows, Brian?
What a roller coaster ride it has been. I do know this. We are in this room together because you guys have a love of country that is truly inspirational, and it bleeds out everywhere we go. And if you look around this room, you see civil servants, you see warriors, you see attorneys, you see great husbands and fathers and mothers and wives. And
Keel, it's our money anyways. They spend it wrong.
Our children, this guy. And there is no greater mission. I wish I had more words to thank every single one of you, but every time I look at every single one of you, you guys know the stories you can't tell.
Hey, Jamie.
More importantly,
they're
the ones
saying
you can.
Donald Trump's the spy.
This is, Pam and I were just talking in the back, and we were like, do you believe this? Like, we were on the campaign trail together. We were attorneys in the first administration together. Now we're here. She's the Attorney General. I'm the Director of the FBI. Like, this is insane. And I don't really fully believe it yet. I hope to. But I'm just not here without you guys. And
hey,
look,
Halfling.
I know the media's in here. And if you have a target, that target's right here. It's not the men and women at the FBI. You've written everything you possibly can about me that's fake, malicious, slanderous, and defamatory. Keep it coming. Bring it on. But leave the men and women of the FBI out of it. They deserve better.
Yeah, go arrest someone. Right.
And for those of you who think that there's going to be a two-tier system of justice, not with Attorney General Bondi. There's a singular system of justice for all Americans, and there will be accountability. And the reason that this mission is so important is simply the following. 100,000 people last year raped. 100,000 people died of CCP fentanyl overdose and heroin. 17,000 homicides. Violent crime is out of control.
That's true.
We cannot have a United States of America where that is acceptable, where someone dies every 30 minutes, where someone ODs every 7, where someone's raped every 6. That cannot be allowed to continue, and it will not be allowed to continue. Our national security mission is equally as important. Anyone that wishes to do harm to our way of life and our citizens here or abroad will face the full wrath of the Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And if you seek to hide in any corner of this country or any corner of this planet, we will put on the world's largest manhunt, and we will find you, and we will decide your end state, not
True,
you.
Keel.
We will uphold the Constitution. We will uphold ourselves to the Constitution. The men and women at the FBI, I have your back because you have the backs of the American people. You will be held to the same high standard. Any deviation from that standard will not be tolerated at this Federal Bureau of Investigation. The men and women at the FBI who make us safe deserve better, and they are going to get it with our leadership and your support. God bless America, and God bless every one of you. I love this country.
Interesting, guys. We'll have to kind of wait and see what happens here. Who knows what direction this is going to take? I would like to believe that everything that we see will be, on the up and up. But our history is really strange here inside of our country, and that history says that we might have some very weird things happen here in the not too distant future. And in fact, we could even see, we could see the country set up laws, and these laws would then be used to, maybe used against us in the future. That's what I'm most concerned at, is will these laws possibly be used against the American people in the future? Let's look and see.
Hurry and get him sworn in because I'm the happiest person today ever. All right, here we go.
Thanks, Donald. Appreciate it.
Please place your hand on the Gita and raise your right hand. I do solemnly swear
I, Kash Patel, do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely,
that I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties of the office on which I am about to enter.
discharge the duties of the office of which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Now, I heard the audio still playing. For some reason, I couldn't see the video playing there.
With President Trump, and I just want to thank him. I know he's not here in the room right now, but what a ride we have been on. What a courageous warrior and leader.
Okay, guys, here is the information that we have a new coronavirus. They say it has the ability to spread through humans, just like COVID did. Now, if you smell something that stinks like a setup, I guess just raise your hand. And for me, I'm kind of over here raising my hand because we've got Trump in office again and another coronavirus that they're warning us about. Now, I did see some reports out there that said that there was an outbreak. Other reports that I'm seeing say that there's no such outbreak. This is just like a limited understanding of it. They say it's HKU5CoV2. It is a Murbecovirus group, which includes the virus MERS, Middle Eastern Respiratory Syndrome. It has the ability to infect and bind to ACE2. That's how COVID spreads through humans. Now, they say hundreds of coronavirus exist, but only a few of them infect humans. These, of course, are able to bind to the ACE2 receptor. It's the same receptor that's used by SARS-CoV-2 to enter cells. The increase in its potential to infect humans is compared to COVID. Researchers used cryo-M technology and imaging technology in laboratories to infect human cell cultures using many human organ models. Now, the study says that this Murbecovirus, which are phylogenetically related to MERS, pose a high risk of spillover. Now, does that mean that somebody's already, running around playing catch me game? Who knows? I mean, there's so much bad going on out there, purposefully bad, that it just makes me absolutely sick. Here's a little bit more information on that. So this report hit the French news outlets, and America very quickly shut it down. It said that Trump would be in Moscow for the commemoration of the end of the war, that Trump and Putin would meet in Moscow. This was going to happen on May 9th. They say that the commemoration of the end of World War II. Now, the White House shut it down. I guess some of Trump's people shut it down. Maybe they're just trying to not show them together outside of these negotiations to stop the Ukrainian and the Russian war. I don't really know why they're doing it.
Americans talking about.
This is interesting. We have this report here showing that this is reportedly. I'm not in Mexico. I'm not at this lady's grocery store, but I see some Spanish lettering behind her. She's saying the eggs are packed out, max full there, while they're putting purposeful shortages out in the USA.
These days is the price of eggs. So let's see what the price of eggs is in Playa del Carmen, Mexico. If you've never seen me before, my name's Meredith. I'm exploring life outside the United States. I'm a widowed mom spending 6 months in Playa del Carmen, Mexico with my 7-year-old son. I made it to the eggs. You're probably going to be pissed. You may want to scroll away. You're going to be real pissed, guys. Eggs on eggs on eggs on eggs. Okay, so for a dozen pasteurized eggs, that works out to $2.
$2 a dozen in Mexico. $2 American, so $2 USD per dozen. If this report is real, it looks real to me. I don't see any dates on any of this that I could make, but she's talking about a current event, and she's down there in some Mexican grocery store. So is she, is she actually out there looking at the eggs for $2 a dozen while they're screwing the American people? Probably.
These ones right here, definitely some sort of organic eggs, and that's less than $3.
Less than $3 for your organic dozen.
Those are just the
Hey, Perth.
pasteurized eggs. Wait till you see the rest of the eggs.
Here's the big carts.
Most eggs in Mexico actually are shelf stable. They haven't been washed. This is a flat of 30, and it's 86 pesos. I'll do the exact conversion on the screen, but that's about $4.
30 eggs.
For 2.5 dozen eggs. So tell me.
$4, 2.5 dozen eggs. Can't even get eggs in Australia, Donna Mills says. That's wild. Let's see what else we've got going on in the comments. Bill Barr. Hey, Brad from Perth, Canada. Jack D. Demon Trader. Was the Wuhan lab busy? Apparently it has been.
Where are you from, and what are your egg prices like this?
The people in this
Now, I saw this yesterday. I wanted to show it to you guys.
room for 4 years failed to cover the fact that Joe Biden was mentally incompetent and was not running the country. It is also true that many people in this room who have used this talking point that Elon is not elected fail to understand how government works. So I'm glad for the opportunity for a brief civics lesson. A president is elected by the whole American people. He's the only official in the entire government that is elected by the entire nation, right? Judges are appointed, members of Congress are elected at the district or state level, just one man. And the Constitution, Article 2, has a clause known as the vesting clause, and it says the executive power shall be vested in a president, singular. The whole will of democracy is imbued into the elected president. That president then appoints staff to then impose that democratic will onto the government. The threat to democracy, indeed the existential threat to democracy, is the unelected bureaucracy of lifetime tenured civil servants who believe they answer to no one, who believe they can do whatever they want without consequence.
Press secretary back there looks like she's going to have to do a little bit of cleanup, and she's a little concerned about it.
Who believe they can set their own agenda no matter what Americans vote for. So Americans vote for radical FBI reform, and FBI agents say they don't want to change. Or Americans vote for radical reform on our energy policies, but EPA bureaucrats say they don't want to change. Or Americans vote to end DEI.
Thank you so much, ALPC. Canada, $10 coming in strong. Appreciate that and the support for our group and our family.
racist DEI policies, and lawyers at the Department of Justice say they don't want to change. What President Trump is doing is he is removing federal bureaucrats who are defying democracy by
thank
failing
you
to
so much,
implement
Nemesis.
his lawful orders.
Nemesis says, happy to see everyone here tonight. Let's try and get the super chat run going for the FSS family. Thank you for everything, Brad. God bless us all. Yes, we do need a lot of blessings. Thank you so much for the super chat there, Nemesis. Now, we're doing a little bit more of a... we're kind of like shaking things up with our broadcast. The first step was here, where we started to do these lives and premieres, extra videos out there, getting more information than we can fit into the normal daily broadcast. Tomorrow morning, you're going to see a little bit of a shift up as we talk about the Department of Government Efficiency stimulus checks that they want to run. And we might throw in an early live and then a late live as we do that. So just make sure you keep watching. I appreciate you guys for all the support to help us do all of these things.
Which are the will of the whole American people.
Every time that he says that, where he's talking about
It is true that
imposing the will of the American people upon them as the single president, you can see her look at the crowd, and she's like, oh, I'm going to have to talk about
district or
this.
state level, which is one man. And the Constitution,
Watch.
Article 2, has a clause known as the vesting clause, and it says the executive power shall be vested in a president, singular. The whole will of democracy is imbued into the elected president.
That look right
president
there.
then appoints
And at the end,
defying democracy by failing to implement his lawful orders, which are the will of the whole American people.
yeah,
It is
she's
true that
watching.
many of the
She's like,
people
okay,
in this
who am I
room-
going to have to give some school to later on? You guys saw this,
It
I'm
paints
sure.
a very interesting picture.
That's the black box recording. Okay, I saw a couple of people asking about this online. This is the Deputy Chief of Staff, Stephen Miller. He was discussing what was going on with Trump's ability and his capability to institute change.
The Ukrainians must get, if they do agree to sign over half of the rare earth minerals to the U.S.
Yeah, well, I was with Zelensky this weekend in Munich. You know, a group of us on a bipartisan basis, senators flew over there and had a meeting with him. He talked about how he was shoved this piece of paper and said, sign it. And he said, this is very strange. I've never read it. But I think, if you're the...
What a joke. Now, this is, of course, CNN. So CNN's going to do a little bit of their own leaning. They're going to try to paint things in a certain way, just like Fox tries to paint things in a certain way. We're here to watch down the middle because I see what you're doing over here and I see what you're doing over here, dirty CNN. So we're going to watch down the middle and see how much it bleeds into the real American populace. And so you can see her retelling of what Zelensky said. This retelling says that he was given a sheet of paper that said you would sign away the minerals of the Ukrainian people and told to sign it. Now, that part I believe, because to think that Ukraine is run by an actor-comedian is about as smart as thinking that homeboy, surfer bro, Facebook CEO is actually run by Zuckerberg. Now, there's CIA behind the scenes, FBI behind the scenes, government money, NGO money. There's puppet masters there. So Ukraine Zelensky is just kind of like towing his own chain there. So what actually is happening? Yeah, homeboy Zuck. They did go over there and they probably did hand him this sheet of paper that said, here you go. In official capacity, it's time to sign it. Time to give Uncle Sam back some of that money that he gave you. And let me tell you something, that I 100% agree with, because we have given your money, my money, to Ukraine with no return on investment that has any chance of helping you or me. At least if the USA gets some accountability through DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency, different forms of oversight, and we have minerals that are paying back if Ukraine can't pay back. Because the first clause is, of course, if you can pay it back in good old USD plus interest, then by all means do it. But if you can't, and you keep asking Daddy Uncle Sam, Daddy Trump for more and more money, well then, it's time to pay it back in what's underneath your asphalt. And so I think it is time for that. Now, she says that Zelensky said this was very strange, that he didn't have time to read it. Come on, that's BS. Sit down and read it, big boy. You're an actor. You've read a script before. Sit down and read this one, and then sign it.
Ukrainians, everyone knows this thing.
To the U.S.
Yeah, well, I was with Zelensky this weekend in Munich. You know, a group of us on a bipartisan basis, senators flew over there and had a meeting with him. He talked about how he was shoved this piece of paper and said, sign it. And he said, this is very strange. I've never read it. But I think, if you're the Ukrainians, everyone knows this thing has to end in a negotiation. Everyone knows the Ukrainians are not going to win. The Russians aren't able to move forward. So we're going to have a negotiation. I think if you're Zelensky, you have to expect and ask for a security commitment of some kind, right? If you're going to sign over half your minerals, I mean, think of us as Americans. I mean, we would never do this. But if you're going to even contemplate...
I love how she says we would never do this, but people all over our country have no mineral rights underneath their house because private organizations working together with government have bought the mineral rights. So you get to live there until the agrochemical company comes and says, it's time. We're coming to take that potash, or whatever. We're coming to take those other minerals out from underneath the ground. It's time for you to move. And they offer you bare market, bone minimum money for your house. And they give you 30, 60, 90 days to get your whole family. Sorry, you thought your kids were growing up here to move. So she obviously has no real world idea of how things operate here in the USA.
Going to sign over half your minerals. I mean, think of us as Americans. I mean, we would never do this. But if you're going to even contemplate that as a Ukrainian, you've got to really get in return some sort of assurances that Putin can't just invade you again. Right? This isn't going to restart in 2 years.
So that the Doge money, the Department of Government Efficiency money, it's not going to come in the Doge coin. Elon Musk is rumored to be the head, like the whale behind Doge, the meme coin. And that rumor says that he'll benefit anytime Doge, the meme coin, goes up, the cryptocurrency. Now, they just happened to call the Department of Government Efficiency the same acronym, DOGE, and that's who's going to be paying you the check if Trump does this. They're not going to pay you in crypto coins. They're not going to pay you in meme coins. They're going to send you a real treasury check or some other form of a check. Rocky Mountain 100, thank you so much. $9.99 super chat. Hi there, Susan from Texas. Love you and your family on the channel. It's becoming a nightly routine for the lives. Yeah, we're so happy to be able to do it here. And Zach, my oldest, he said he wants to get in on some of them. Kelly didn't have the extra camera set up right now, but she's out there making me some oatmeal cranberry cookies. So I'm very happy about that.
Years or 4 years. So you're looking for what that means from the Europeans, from the Americans. And that, to me, is going to be a sticking point for Zelensky no matter what.
Guys, we talk to you all the time about how you just don't know when something bad is going to happen to you, okay? And here's a good example. A lot of these people in traffic, they're just minding their own business. Maybe they're coming home from work, going shopping, picking the kids up, on the way to the doctor's office, going to pay a bill, buying a new phone, need a new pair of shoes. Who knows what they're doing? And then the day gets wrecked. So you have these bikers come in. Now, they were okay. They got up and moved, so don't worry. Don't get on me, YouTube, like there was some sort of, huge catastrophe that happened there. So these guys get up, but you can see there's a blatant inability to follow the traffic there. And these guys were coming in strong and got laid out strong. So just watch out. You guys, you don't know when your day is going to be like that. Somebody's like, "Who? Sweet Harley." Oh my gosh. Yeah, that is a pretty dope ride.
But, we have one stat that I quote. The autism stat.
Listen, now YouTube came after me the other day for letting a video like this go off, and I don't really know what to say because this is RFK Jr., this is Donald Trump, this is your president, these are your government leaders. So how could you say that I have anything to do with misinfo or disinfo? I'm just showing and we're discussing what your government leaders have to say. So we're in a very strange time here.
And you hear different numbers, but it's thousands. They say between 10 and 20,000. So if you go back 15 years ago, we had like nobody. It was 1 in 20,000. Now we have 1.
I don't know. I think maybe I had a bit of a tism 15, 20 years ago. I have a funny story, but it's not politically correct, so maybe I'll get to it at some time. But let me just say my parents had me tested for something, okay? because I'm kind of a nonconformist at heart. And I think we're all a little bit nonconformist. And that's why we're interested in self-sustainment and not having to rely on, the government for keeping you safe. And, we lock our own doors because we know that the boogeyman might not be at every door, but he exists out there. And so, I'm such a nonconformist, I guess, that I was really bad in school. Not necessarily behaviorally, just I didn't want to do with it. I learned differently. So let me learn the way that I learn. And that's not how school works in this system. And so the parents were like, well, you must be, if you know sign language, you know what this means. And if you don't know sign language, then correct. Let's see, restart streaming software. Looks like we're back up. I lost the internet because I guess YouTube didn't want to talk about, what we were talking about. So let's hope that we're back here. Let me know when you get back in. If you see us, give me a 5x5. Give me all clear that you guys know that we're here. Yeah, YouTube got me. You had it over the bullseye. That's right. Okay, it looks like we're back up and live. So let's see what Trump's saying.
Nobody. It was 1 in 20,000. Now we have 1 in 34.
Appreciate it.
34. So 34 or 36 kids have autism. And if you go back, I guess 18 years, that whenever that was done, it was 1 in 20,000.
They weren't even testing me for the tism. They were testing me to see if I deserved a ride to school on a shorter bus.
From 20,000 to 34, 36. That's unbelievable. So there's something wrong. There's something wrong. We've done something wrong. There's something, you're going to figure it out. Maybe it's a spray that we spray all over the place that nobody else does. Other countries don't. The Pennsylvania Dutch, they don't do anything, and they're amazingly healthy. And
so there he is talking about that maybe there's something that's sprayed in the air that's making people sick. Now, isn't that interesting how you have a president to the country saying that maybe there was some sort of, initiative to allow something to be sprayed or, put on your food or sprayed on the gardens that's making people not healthy. So that's not me. That's the president.
Spray all over the place that nobody else does. Other countries don't.
Thanks, Shirley.
The Pennsylvania Dutch, they don't do anything, and they're amazingly healthy. And
this is at the Atlanta airport. So Atlanta, Georgia, not known for its peace and quiet, of course. But again, you don't know where you're going to be when a fight breaks out. You just have to make sure that you don't get in it. See, more people get in, more people start swinging. The swinging starts, the more people swinging. More people pile on. Guys, this could be your family here. No authorities. Where are these authorities at? There aren't any. So just watch out. It's not safe out there.
Has complied immediately, by the NCAA has complied immediately, by the way. That's good. But I understand Maine.
Now listen to this. I think he's talking to the Maine governor here. And he's talking, he really shuts it down. So listen.
Is Maine here, the governor of Maine? Well, are you not going to comply with it?
I'm complying with state and federal laws.
We are the federal law. Well, you better do it. You better do it because you're not going to get any federal funding at all if you don't. And by the way, your population, even though it's somewhat liberal, although I did very well there, your population doesn't want men playing in women's sports. So you better comply because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding.
See you in court.
Every state, good. I'll see you in court. I look forward to that. That should be a really easy
Now listen
one.
to this part.
And enjoy your life after governor because I don't think you'll be in elected politics.
Enjoy your life after, governor, because you're not going to be in elected politics anymore. So that's a real interesting push there. Let's see. Okay, I've got to flip this backwards, guys.
For those of you who think that there's going to be a two-tier system of justice,
We already saw this. Okay, that
because of
saw
my
that.
friends, and you're literally in this room, constitutional over administration together.
coins like this.
We covered all that. You can't even show Jones on here. Can't be showing the Jonesy boy because YouTube doesn't like the Jonesy boy, even if he does get some information out there that needs to be seen.
It's at CPAC with Ben and with Ted Cruz. And one of the things that you alluded to, and this is something Donald Trump has talked about, the DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
Not yet.
Here it's at CPAC with Ben and with Ted Cruz. And one of the things that you alluded to, and this is something Donald Trump has talked about, the DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to...
So she's saying on her desk exists the list of these clients. I can't even say the word on YouTube. Of these clients of very horrible, horrible manipulation and things. So, do you think that we're going to see this soon? I don't think it's ever going to reach out. I think it'll be heavily redacted if we ever see any information on it. And so my only hope is that justice, actual justice, is performed. I don't care if I don't ever see the list. I'll know by who's in jail and who steps down resigns from their position as a CEO of Microsoft and who steps down from all their other positions.
The MAGA revolution, it's not a revolution. It is a counter-revolution. There's a big difference. This is a restoration. Let's use the word Trump restoration. We don't really appreciate what we've been through with 8 years of the Obama revolution and the 4-year more radical third term of Obama using or employing the waxen effigy of Joe Biden. A revolution that we've experienced was a cultural, economic, political, social evolution. It was very similar to the French Revolution under the Robespierre brothers. We should remember what they tried to do. They changed the days of the week. They renamed things. They tore down statues. They went after the church. Does this sound familiar? This revolution that we've experienced, everything was up for sale. Everything was negotiable. We invented a third gender and rammed it down people's
still
throats.
Cutting
we tore down statues.
in and out? Let me know. If I'm still cutting in and out, let me know. I shouldn't be. The bit rate looks okay. I don't have any dropped frames on my side, which is some of the metrics that I can see. FPS looks good. The mic looks like it's working good. So you let me know if I am still cutting out, and I'll see what I can do here. Maybe restart the streaming service.
Said 1776 was no longer the foundational date. It was 1619. We changed the very mechanism that we vote. We went from 70% of the electorate voting on election day to 70% of the electorate not doing that, either through mail-in or early voting. That was a radical change that had no discussion. It was done by fiat. It was incredible. We looked at girls' sports and we destroyed it. We said that transgender,
I hope she does have a bodyguard.
Biological males that were now transgendered females could compete. They won over 600 medals they took away from hardworking female athletes. We had drag shows among young children. It was an effort to change the entire Constitution. We forget that.
Now that's definitely contentious, right? That's something that you can't even really discuss, that there was a want and a push and an agenda to actually change the foundation of the United States of America. So this is Victor Davis Hanson. Okay, let's see who he is. I'm going to ask Grok. Grok is Twitter's form of an AI bot. American classicist, military historian, political commentator, a senior fellow at the Hoover Institute. Now, I'm not a big fan of that, okay? So I'm surprised that he's talking some truth here. He talks about history, warfare, contemporary politics, the decline of the Western civilization, drawing a parallel between Greece and Rome. They say his style is provocative, blends scholarship with farmers' pragmatism. Now, he comes from a background of money, family's vineyard. I think when you're rich, you call it a vineyard. Everybody else is like it's a vineyard in California. Okay. So he's been doing this a bit.
Trying to bring in Puerto Rico as a state and Washington, D.C. to get 4 innocent senators. They were proud. They said that they were going to pack the Supreme Court. It hadn't been tried since 1937.
Uh-huh.
And it was a object of disgrace ever since, but they were proud to try it again. They talked about making states, the Senate, look like the House. They wanted, and a lot of them were advocating it was not fair
Thanks,
that
Sharon,
one
for the
senator
local
in
calling.
Wyoming, to take one example, is worth 250,000 votes, but a senator in California represented 20 million. They wanted to change the makeup of the Senate. They wanted to get rid of the Senate filibuster. Remember that. They wanted to bring back neo-Confederate nullification.
3.75 years at
jurisdictions
best,
in the
Cloud.
manner of South Carolina in 1832, or on the edge of the Civil War in 1860, when neo-Confederate Southern states said the federal government's law does not apply to us. Tariffs, Yankee tariffs, no, we were going to override them. Andrew Jackson almost invaded the Carolinas over that, South Carolina.
Now, a lot of information going out there. I'm going to leave that to you guys. We gave you his name. You guys can look him up, see if there's some more information. There's definitely a lot about how we see a shifting of the perception, because it's about perception, right? I'm sure that you've seen the thought experiments and the exercises where, you've seen the image, and this image shows a dog grabbing a sheep by the neck, pulling it. And it's very tight in on the dog, right? All you see is the dog's head, the sheep in distress, and the dog's mouth around the neck. And the narrative, the perception that is trying to be pushed with that one image is that rabid dog attacks sheep. But then when you go back a little bit and you see what's actually happening, the rest of the sheep are behind the shepherd's dog. The one sheep had fallen in the water, couldn't get out, and the dog was pulling it to safety. So it really is about perception on what's actually happening out there. The whole agenda that we were trying to institute as a country over the courses of the last 10, 20 years has been crazy.
It is true that many of the people in this room for 4 years failed to cover the fact that Joe Biden was mentally incompetent
about
and was
ED?
not running the country. It is also true that many people in this room who have used this talking point that Elon is not elected fail to understand.
Okay, so
how
he's just going
government
back
works.
into what we already read about or talked about earlier, and that's Trump's basically absolute power, as he calls it. And I don't know about all that talk.
Entire defense. Germany's entire defense is subsidized by the American taxpayer. There are thousands upon thousands of American troops in Germany today. Do you think that the American taxpayer is going to stand for that if you get thrown in jail in Germany for posting a mean tweet? Of course they're not, right? So the point that I try to make to our European friends, and I think that there are friends, I believe that, I know President Trump does, is that friendship is based on shared values. You do not have shared values if you're jailing people for saying we should close down our border. You don't have shared values if you cancel elections because you don't like the result, and that
freezing back there. Let me refresh here.
Entire defense is that if you're jailing people for saying we should close down our border. You don't have shared values if you cancel elections because you don't like the result, and that happened in Romania. You do not have shared values if you're so afraid of your own people that you silence them and shut them up.
I see COVID 2.0 is trending out there. Let's see what there is about this. Okay, come on. That's obviously not COVID 2.0. Why would that be trending, but this comes out? Someone said, I don't think so. I didn't fall for it. Parallel government. If COVID 2.0 ends up being real, I'm quitting my nursing job and never going back. There's no way I'm working through another pandemic. Zero H says there's no way about this. could spread through humans. A scene eerily reminiscent of... Now, guys, I'm on top of... I would be very, very surprised because I'm watching the actual virologists out there in China that are reporting on things. And I would be very surprised if there was a pneumonia disease of unknown origin that I hadn't even seen a little whisper about. Now, a couple of weeks ago, they were chasing down a pneumonia of unknown origin, and then they came out and said, hey, don't worry, it was like influenza A subtype, whatever. I don't know. I'm not a virologist, right? So how would I know if they're lying or not? All I can do is watch the trends and get my family ready. That's really all we have access to. Watch what's happening, get our families ready. Cam Bowman, thank you so much. Thank you for all you and your family do. I'm sure it's a lot of work. Wish we could give, I wish I could give memberships. There are so many people even just provide stuff. Like I would love to. So thank you so much, Cam Bowman. I really appreciate it. Let me do this here. Donna Mills. Thanks, Brad. Bless you and your family. I've got to go, but it was glad to have family finally caught alive. Take care and stay vigilant. Thank you so much, Donna. Really appreciate the super chat and the love. Yeah, so I would be very surprised if we saw coronavirus 2.0 already spreading. Now, maybe after leaking this, you're going to see it in the next couple of days. That I don't know. We're just going to have to keep watching. But remember, all we can do, and that goes for what Kash Patel is about to do, what Doge is going to do, what Trump does, what AOC is going to do, what Kamala Harris is working behind the scheme, what the Clintons are going to do, everything. We can just watch the trend and get our family as ready as we possibly can.
Some of the savings from Doge back to Americans as kind of a dividend. Would you support that?
Listen, he's just telling a lie. He's not the one that had anything to do with the $1,200 refunds that people had during the...
I love how this is Rep. Jasmine Crockett, okay? She doesn't know what she's actually saying because she's trying to take credibility away from Donald Trump and say that he didn't have anything to do with your last stimulus check. But what she doesn't realize she's actually saying is she's taking responsibility for inflation going up just through the Democrat Party.
Midst of COVID that was done by a Democratic House and Democratic Senate. Right now, what they're going to do is say, hey, we want to give you a refund, but Congress won't let us because they already know that there's just no money for that. The only reason that those refunds came before was because we were living in different...
Next. Okay, this is a good video to listen to. This to me is a glimpse of the American people changing.
I'm done. I'm done. I don't care.
Now, I don't particularly care for this lady or her mannerisms, but it is worth listening to see the stamina with which the American people are changing their tune. They're really fed up and over it. Coin Hoarder, thank you so much. $10 super chat. This is your first super chat on a live stream. Really appreciate it. Is that coins as in physical coins or like crypto coins?
I sound stupid. I don't care. I am no longer a piggy bank for the United States federal government. Period. Period. You hear me? I am no longer a piggy bank for them. I am done. I can't physically or mentally hear of another post on X or another press release in the news about how Doge has uncovered another $4.7 trillion.
Well, come on, let's actually be real here.
Unaccounted for. When I heard that last night, I am like, are you kidding me right now?
Glad you were here.
Because I know you out there have a story where the IRS either attached your wages, seized your assets, like...
Okay, that's about all I can take of her. Let's see what's next.
Omar on the U.S. House Committee on Foreign Affairs. I'm also asking Congresswoman Craig to initiate an ethics investigation into Congresswoman Omar because of questions about federal tax fraud, federal immigration fraud, federal student loan fraud, and state violations of perjury, bigamy, kickbacks, and acts of campaign fraud abuse in Boston, Washington, New York, Chicago, and Florida. There are also violations of state ethics.
Just couldn't take it anymore.
Or of the Minnesota House ethics rules regarding colleges for speeches she gave while she was in partial control of their budgets as a member of the House Higher Education Finance Committee in
I don't think so.
2017 and 2018. She was found guilty of the violations by the Minnesota Campaign Finance Board 3 weeks ago.
That's a good question. Stormwolf said, will people on Social Security, disability, will anybody on any sort of existing program like that get this DOGE government check, the stimulus check? So I don't know. You would think so, because this is, well, I guess it depends, right? It depends on what kind of visible payback they're trying to push. If Trump's like, hey, everybody should get it because your money that's been taken from you for your entire work period went to this kind of corruption, then they'll do it. But if they can say, well, it's only the people who have paid in this time period that we can prove these tickets, then they won't do it. So, you know what, that's a good question. I think they probably won't do it if you're on an existing program, unless Trump is going to try to make an example out of it.
In order to return those funds on June 6th.
200-year-olds getting 5K.
Omar appears to be a serial career criminal.
Okay, so you know what they're talking about there, and I think that we need to get all treason out of the U.S. government.
47. So you're about.
Okay, this is crazy. I've got to flip it around. This is crazy, okay? These guys are hate-filled. The crazy part, and I'm sure you've seen this already, the crazy part is that body camera footage from officers talking with the dudes afterwards. The cops are like, hey, it's no problem. I'll take you. I'll just take your hoodie off. Take your mask off. I'll drive you around. It was real buddy-buddy.
Isn't there is cool with me driving it to you guys? I can go and get it, but there's a dog in there. I don't know.
We need to get. He's my service animal. That's why I really need to get him. But
get you an Uber. Let's go. Here,
get your mask on. Let's go. I don't give a my face right now.
Just take take that black that shirt off, and you can get my car.
Cool. Thank you, brother.
And then
God bless you, dude.
if I got in the driver's seat of the car, would the dog bite me? You think? No. Okay.
No.
He's a good dog.
He'll sniff you to death.
You make sure you got your keys.
Yeah, so definitely a woe situation there. If that kind of thing catches steam, you'll have seen it here as one of the first spots where we see some actual police grouping with some of those things.
Decisions of this body so awful because there's a printing press. I had a conversation with one of my Democrat colleagues, and I said, we have to make a choice. You've got to decide whether you want to help the poor in our country or want to help the poor in Ukraine or help whoever you're paying in Ukraine. And he says, we shouldn't have to make a choice.
Yeah, right.
Well, it's like, you do have to make a choice. The fact that you think you don't have to make a choice is why we're $36 trillion in the hole. You have to make choices. Which comes first, Ukraine or America? You can't do both because we don't have enough money. We only have enough taxes coming in to pay for Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and food stamps. Everything else is borrowed. So maybe able-bodied people need to go back to work. Maybe there needs to be a work requirement. Maybe, for goodness sakes, food stamps shouldn't buy sugar drinks, chips, ding-dongs, and Twinkies.
Now we're getting into some territory, aren't we? So we're just going to have to see how this argument keeps on playing. I have something funny that I want to put on, but I'm not going to tonight because they already dinged last night's video. So we'll hit it another night.
K$H.
For Kash Patel.
He's a brand. He says all these things because he believes them, but also because it makes him a hero to the gullible conspiracy theorists inside MAGA. He uses them. He sells stuff to them. Sweatshirts, T-shirts, lapel pins. K$H. This is his logo. K$H.
Is he a hater? What's going on here? Or does he want a hoodie? I don't really get it. Like, I think he might actually want a hoodie.
He's a brand. He says all these things because he believes them, but also because it makes him a hero.
cannot believe that President Trump is keeping all his promises. Like, I really thought that, like, he was going to bullshit a little bit.
Come on.
I mean, just a little bit. He ain't bullshit.
Nah,
I'm so overwhelmed on how wonderful he is busting in the door. Yeah. And on top of that, you know what?
What?
This motherfucker loves us. You know what? He's got some eggs coming in, y'all. He got eggs coming in, y'all. He's having some eggs imported, okay? So, you know what I'm saying? Hey, at least he's keeping his promises and he's doing a little extra. So we got some tons of eggs supposed to be coming in. I don't know where he's, Google it. It's on the news. But I think that's awesome. Big Daddy taking care of his babies. Oh,
Big Daddy.
I was a Trump baby. Yes, I am. God, I love you.
Okay, so you can see there's certainly an American people behind what's going on. Big Daddy taking care of his baby, she says. Gotta like that.
It's not something I will get behind.
So he's being asked about providing additional money to Ukraine.
It's not something I will get behind. Absolutely not. We should not be providing an additional dime to Ukraine. What we ought to do instead, Will, is we ought to audit every single penny that has been spent on Ukraine. Do you know we have never had a full accounting of the $200 billion that we have spent on Ukraine? You talk about waste, fraud, and abuse. We have no idea where most of that money has gone. And no, we should not be tying the president's hands while he is in the middle of peace negotiations by funding the Ukrainian government. I think that is totally irresponsible.
So listen to this again.
It's not something I will get behind.
Don't get this guy, Rep. Josh Hawley says he will not stand behind the providing of any additional money to Ukraine, and instead we need to audit every single dollar that has been sent there.
Absolutely not. We should not be providing an additional dime to Ukraine. What we ought to do instead, Will, is we ought to audit every single penny.
This is someone we cannot trust. This is someone who lacks the character to do this job, someone who lacks the integrity to do this job. We know that. Our Republican colleagues know that. The only qualification Kash Patel has to be FBI director is that when everyone else in the first Trump administration said, no, I won't do that, that crosses moral, ethical, and legal lines, Kash Patel said, sign me up. In the first Trump administration, as we are seeing in the second, you rise to the level of your sycophancy, and no one is a bigger or more dangerous sycophant than Kash Patel.
They're trying to use
this
that term,
political
but that's not
hack
going to
does
catch
not
on.
deserve to be in this building. He can't do the job. He won't protect the public. He will misuse the resources of the Bureau. He will
criminal
of the American people.
Now let's listen to
Adam
Kash.
Schiff is the worst criminal in Congress in the last 250 years. And what broke that we're going to talk about right now is Adam Schiff met with a whistleblower. Adam Schiff went to the podium day after day after day saying, I know nothing about this. We're not going to discuss it. We're going to protect it. And then Adam Schiff, led the prosecution of the impeachment trial in the Senate of President Donald Trump. Talk about someone who was conflicted out of the game because he was part of the hoax that brought Charmella in, manufactured that false accusation, and then peddled it out to the world, and he continued, not surprising, he's lied about almost everything in his life. But now he lied just to set up a presidential impeachment. And that's what I was talking about, these disinformation campaigns.
We'll have to see where this turns up.
You couldn't answer.
Okay, this is massive fraud exposed on immigration. So I'm going to keep this flipped around. Let's listen. It's really important to hear this because this shows you.
So that's why I gave a statement. Do you agree that the same Social Security number was used on at least 20 different CHNV supporter applications?
So first, let me start by saying...
So these are yes/no questions. So yes or no?
I just want to make clear that the role that USCIS plays is on the supporter side.
And I'm asking about supporter applications.
Okay. I'm sorry. Can you repeat that question then? I heard it as the parolee.
No, the same Social Security number was used on at least 20 different CHNV supporter applications. That's the question I asked.
Sorry.
You're aware of that?
So Yes, I am very aware
That
of.
happened at least 3,200 times.
I love how she tries to backpedal and she's like, I'm aware that it maybe happened. And he's like, it happened 3,200 times. That the Department of Homeland Security knows about. How many times did it happen that they don't know about?
I don't have the exact number.
That's according to DHS's report.
Okay, I
You
don't have
don't
the.
dispute DHS's report. do
No,
you?
I absolutely will not.
And also,
I will
the
not
same
dispute
phone
what's
number was
been
used on at
submitted in
least
writing.
20 different supporter applications, at least 3,300 times.
3,300 different times proven by the DHS.
That's according to the report. You agree that that report's accurate?
I don't have that report in front of me, but
I'm reading
I
from
won't
it.
dispute. Yes, but I don't have it in front of me, and I would prefer.
So you would dispute it?
No, I'm not disputing what I am.
So you would deflect and ramble around. You don't
There you
disagree
go.
with
At least
that?
call him out on it. We use these terms like, oh, I'm not disputing it. Well, then you're deflecting it. And you're refusing to answer it with a yes or no.
Number. You don't think I'm deliberately cherry-picking number and just saying, oh, I'm just throwing this stuff out.
Thank you so much, Jerry Kovacs. Appreciate the super chat coming in strong for the support of the FSS family.
I'm giving you the numbers from the report. Do you trust me on that? Do you at least trust me that far?
Yes,
Okay, so then you agree with that number. The same email address was used on at least 20 different supporter applications, nearly 2,000 times. You agree with that?
Sir, if there is a situation.
Her whole job, they were like, if you're going to get this job, if when you sit in front of actual authority and have to take responsibility, you can evade responsibility. And she could do it.
Where we have concerns of fraud and integrity, we take action at USCIS, and that is exactly what we have done with regard to CHNB. Where we
okay, so let's clarify here. So I'm laying foundation, and you don't really want to admit that there's this much rampant fraud here. You're trying to tell me that when you find fraud, we cure it, and yet nearly 2,000 times you had the same email address used on 20 different supporter applications. The same exact 184-word text response to a question on the supporter application was used on more than 1,800 such applications by nearly 190 different CHNV supporters. More than 460 non-existent zip codes were used on supporter applications on behalf of more than 2,800 CHNV aliens. So you see, you can dance around and say you don't have the report in front of you and whatnot, but these are the facts. This program is rife with fraud.
Yep. Hey, Jordan.
As of
Coming in at
August
the end.
6, 2024, DHS had approved more than 80,000 CHNV supporters who were in the U.S. on a temporary basis. Temporary basis. I'm going to give you some numbers.
Crazy, guys. Absolutely crazy that we've allowed this kind of thing to happen. Oh, okay, don't play that. Come on now. Don't get me with that music now. Okay, here is, this is crazy. I want to say beautiful to see just because of it's, like, this is AI, right? This has got to be AI, but it's actually not. Gifting Trump the chainsaw to cut through government waste at the United States. Gotta love it. During an election campaign. This is like fever dream territory. That no, if
Many
you
of the
knew it,
people
then obviously YouTube's gonna figure it out.
This room, for 4 years, failed to cover the fact that Joe Biden was mentally incompetent and was not running the country. It is also true that many people in this room who have used this talking point that Elon is not elected fail to understand.
I keep thinking that he's going to go deeper because he did talk, or somebody talked about the Biden administration, but he just goes into what we already covered at the beginning of the broadcast.
News out.
Okay, so this is them saying that actually Obama's, the certification of the place that you were brought into this world isn't valid, but the footage is from an old press conference. It circulated around. They're saying that they're going to go after Obama now. I don't think so, guys. They kind of let the The old lies stay lighted. Look at this. Again, another part of a video where we talk about that you don't know where you're going to be when something crazy happens. All these people just walking by. The cops are there. They're like, oh, the cops have got it under control. No, the cops don't have it under control.
They're going to hit people.
Gets right into some other cops there. This lady almost gets clipped.
They didn't hit that person, did they?
The horse is there. The guy takes off running.
Maybe.
Crazy.
I think everybody
And somebody, let me see if you can see it here, okay? Right about here, somebody sticks their foot out for this guy who just almost ruined people's lives by running them over. Somebody sticks their foot out as he's running down the sidewalk and gives him the old schoolyard tripperoo. It's right around... Okay, you see it right around the yellow school bus. So look up above the yellow school bus, and there you're going to see somebody step out from this is a quick thinker. Steps out from the storefront, puts his foot out, the guy goes down. Does what all these cops couldn't do. Just puts his foot out.
Maybe. I think everybody
down on the ground, finally giving the cops a chance to catch up. He gets back up, starts running. The horsies should be there taking care of business. I don't know what the horsey riders, I guess they're too concerned about the welfare of the horses and not concerned with, well, that these are service creatures, beasts of burden, to do a job here. Because the horsey riders had all this chance to get their giddy up going and get over there. And they're just over here just trotting along, I guess, waiting for the hay to grow or something. We used to watch Curious George with our youngest, and they say you save haymaking for when the sun shines, and I guess that's what they were waiting for, because they did not want to do their job. All right, let's see what this is.
I want to talk to you about the Epstein case. I have worked on this for years, trying to get those records of who flew on Epstein's plane and who helped him build this international human trafficking, sex trafficking ring. Now, earlier I urged then Chairman Durbin to subpoena those records.
Right.
And I ended up being blocked by Senator Durbin and Christopher Wray. They stonewalled on this. And I know that breaking up these trafficking rings is important to President Trump. So will you work with me on this issue so we know who worked with Jeffrey Epstein in building these sex trafficking?
Yeah, I don't think this information is ever going to get out into the public space, guys. I'm afraid that we won't ever know.
Hey, I heard Elon and the Doge team started looking at Medicare, and I found something for them. This medication is pirfenidone. Medicare filled it 85,000 times in 2022 at an average cost of $8,000 per prescription. They spent $680 million on that one drug in just 1 year. However, at my pharmacy, which is a cost-plus pharmacy, meaning we don't take insurance, that same prescription would only cost $200. If we filled all 85,000 prescriptions, it would cost $17 million total. That means Medicare is overpaying by $663 million every year. How do they do that? Well, Medicare contracts with pharmacy benefits managers to tell them how much they should be paying for medications. The problem is the pharmacy benefits manager gets paid a percentage of the cost. That means the higher the price, the higher their cut. They aren't incentivized to lower the cost. They're incentivized to raise the cost, and they are not shy about it. So it's an easy solution for the Doge team. Cancel the PBM contracts and bring the actual costs back into the equation instead of those nonsense made-up prices that the PBMs use. If you want to see if the PBMs have been raising the cost of your medication, go to forestparkpharmacy.com and look at our price checker to see if we can save you.
All right, so there's a pharmacist guy, right? I don't know if he's actually a pharmacist, but he's definitely a spokesperson for this, what did he call it? Forest Park Pharmacy. I have no affiliation with this. And he is out here saying that because of these PBMs, so these the prescription drug managers, they work as a middle person between the you and the pharmacy and the actual chemical pharmaceutical agency that's making the drug. And they have an incentive, because they get paid a certain amount, a percentage, to keep the prices always going up. Higher profits, higher prices, higher money they're going to make. They don't care that you're sick, can't afford it. They don't care that your kid can't afford it. They don't care about any of that. Make more money. That's where we blend corruption with capitalism. And that's where we're at. There's no going back, unfortunately. So I just want to really get this in one more time so that everybody knows how this scam works.
Is pirfenidone. Medicare filled it 85,000 times in 2022 at an average cost of $8,000 per prescription.
Deborah.
They spent $680 million on that one drug in just 1 year. However, at my pharmacy, which is a cost-plus pharmacy, meaning we don't take insurance, that same prescription would only cost $200. If we filled all 85,000 prescriptions, it would cost $17 million total. That means Medicare is overpaying by $663 million every year. How do they do that? Well, Medicare contracts with pharmacy benefits managers to tell them how much they should be paying for medications. The problem is the pharmacy benefits manager gets paid a percentage of the cost. That means the higher the price, the higher their cut. They aren't incentivized to lower the cost. They're incentivized to raise the cost, and they are not shy about it. So it's an easy solution for the Doge team. Cancel the PBM contracts and bring the actual costs back into the equation instead of those nonsense made-up prices that the PBMs use. If you want to see if the PBMs have been raising the cost of your medication, go to forestparkpharmacy.com and look at our price checker to see if we can save you.
All right, guys, we are uncovering every day some of the corruption that's happening out there. I want to thank you for being here with us. We went over our hour tonight, but we had a great time. We learned a lot of information. You got to watch out for that coronavirus 2.0 that they're calling it, COVID 2.0. It's more like a MERS virus, the Middle Eastern Respiratory Syndrome virus. If we start seeing an outbreak, I'm going to bring you that info. Not because you necessarily have to be concerned with it, but just because I want you to know what's going on so that you can make whatever decisions you think are right for you and your family. Well, thank you guys for being here with me and for supporting my family. This is a 3-person crew. Me, my wife, and my oldest son. You support our family of 4, and I really appreciate everything that you do for us. So from my family to you and yours, I wish you a good night, and we will see you back here tomorrow. Make sure you're subscribed and that bell alert is alerted so that you get an alert every time a new video comes out. Good luck out there, everyone.